Okay, this is going to be a long video, and although I have no idea exactly what is going to be said, but I'm actually here. I have notebook and an acute, and I have a pen, two pens. Oh, wow, two pens. Okay, two pens. Here, let's take the good one. Okay, because I can see that this is going to probably be on the longer side here, and we maybe need to draw some stuff and illustrate. So, okay, the video topic is about the social game. Okay, the social game. What is the social game? Let's first of all define the social game. The social game is this any form of relationship dynamic between two or more human beings. Whenever you have two or more human beings, that is automatically a society. Okay? That is a collective. That is a society. So I am here right now, and I guess I am a society of organisms because I got bacteria and blah blah blah. But I'm not a human society right now. I am a part of the nature society, the Gaian society, and that's what I'm part of. I'm part of a society right now, and then the planet Earth is part of the solar system society, and the solar system society is part of the galactic society. Okay, if you're into the confederation and stuff like that, then you see that it's all society within society within society within society within all like fractal, like it goes on for eternity, right? It just keeps going on and on and on and on and on and on for eternity, but it's really just one substance, one thing. So anyway, I don't want to get too metaphysical here because it's meant to be more of a practical video. So and holding a pen and notebook, I gotta do that more often. I feel scholarly. I feel smarter automatically. So, okay, let's get a little more practical. So we're talking specifically about the human society. Okay, the social game, the human social game. Anytime we have two or more human beings together, they have already formed, established a human society. Okay, so the human society, the human urge to bond with others is deeply ingrained, and the human desire to find sexual mates is deeply ingrained because the way the species reproduces itself, it has to have sex with itself. So a male has to have sex with a female in order for the species to go on. And so the species is programmed to survive and pass on its genetics. Therefore, when you take on the suit, the vehicle, the car that is a human being, the organism, you are a soul to experience a human being, you take on its programs. So you're taking on the program of procreation. Therefore, you're naturally looking out for mates. You're constantly seeing, do I look good? You know, how is my social status? Am I smooth with the ladies? Is my booty big? Are the guys checking me out? Right? It's you know, you could be a divine soul and you're still going to experience these. Of course, a fully enlightened being then transcends these things, but nevertheless, even you know, beings who are not necessarily enlightened, but you know, higher fourth density, fifth density, you know, you experience these temptations. You experience, it's not even temptations, you're just experiencing the programming of the being, you know? Like here I am, Jesus Christ, and I'm taking on this human being. Sure, I'm a fourth density, fifth density, going to fifth density, I'm a highly evolved soul. Nevertheless, he experienced the same urges, the urge to procreate, the urge to mate, etc., etc. Because you're a human being. You're a human being. Buddha was sitting under the tree, and he was experiencing the Mara tempted him with his beautiful daughters, right? It's not even Mara tempted him. It's just like Buddha, here's the soul, as advanced of a soul as it is. It's taken on a human body, and it's taken on all its programs, and it's programmed saying, go and find mates because we want to keep the species reproducing. That's the way the program of the human species, the human organism, you see? So then you experience that. I want to feel dumb, so I put this down. I like feeling dumb. So, see, I'm dumb again. So, anyway, the social game, the program to mate, the program to procreate, the program to socially bond with others because it enhances your survivability, because human beings have survived due to them bonding together. Otherwise, look at us. We're weak, we're fragile, we're slow. But we came together and we were able to put our minds, which is the other thing we have that gives us supremacy over all other life organisms. And then we put our numbers, so our mind, our numbers together. And then that's it. So we have this deep, deep ingrained desire in us to bond on a human level. Just on a human level for survivability and to reproduce. To keep the program, the nature program running. To keep the organism reproducing and to keep it surviving. Okay, so you come into this human body and you experience all these things. Okay, and then so that's so you're there and you're distracted by the social game. So here you are, you're a teenager, and you're looking at all these women, and you're raging. You've got testosterone now. Your hormones are all firing. You got boners every 2 hours. So here you are. Maybe you have a dream, you want to do something, you blah, blah, blah. But man, I want to reproduce right now. I want to reproduce. That's the way, that's what the body's saying. I want to reproduce. Now with things like NoFap, you take this energy and then you allow it to move up, and then you become more creative, and then you become more of your divine self, which is that's really the true nature of you. So NoFap is very critical for you teenagers out there. And the same thing applies for women also, right? Women are just as distracted because women also want to have their reproduction. So women are also looking at all these boys and they're like mesmerized just as much as the boys are mesmerized, right? Yeah, that's the program you're in. That's just the organism, you see? So why is that problematic? That's problematic for the serious soul, and I'll tell you why. It's problematic because it's distracting. Because a lot of you guys came here for a mission. So here I am on a mission to elevate the consciousness. I'm here to save the animals, and I'm here to enlighten the masses, blah, 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 blah. And here I have all these biological programs. I don't even remember who I am. You begin to identify with the body. You begin to identify with your reproductive mechanism. You begin to identify with your sexual identity. Oh, they call me Mr. I don't know, in bed. You put, I don't know if you got a nickname or something, right? You become identified with the sexual identity. You become identified with your ability to reproduce. So you say, well, I get a hard on every day. Like, I'm a real man. I'm a real man. I give it to them hard. You become to be identified with that role. You totally forget. You fall asleep. You're like, I'm a soul here to help the world. Yeah, forget that, right? No, I'm here to bone everything that moves because I'm a human being. So the more identified you are with being a human being, primarily, the more likely you're to be distracted and therefore suffer the consequences of these distractions. The more likely you are to be sucked into materialism and the illusion of Maya, the illusion that is around you, if your primary identity is human being. And so what happens, part of the suffering is your entire life begins fixated on impressing the opposite sex. Your entire life begins to be fixated on having friends, having mates of all kinds, whether it's sexual mates or just mates in general, people to spend time with, a wolf pack, a pack with you, a tribe. Well, because you're mostly identified with your human urges, you're a human being, so of course, you're going to spend your entire consciousness thinking about, who am I mating with? Do I like her? Do I like him? Or do I want somebody better? And do I have enough friends? All right, let me go out and meet some more people. Let me go out and get more mates. All right, I'm going to go get a nose job. I'm going to get buttocks. I'm going to get breast implants. I'm gonna go work out in the gym. Get the really big pecs and big biceps. Right? Your entire consciousness is now locked up into your biological urges because you're primarily identified with being a human being. And there's so much suffering that comes from that. Because you're sitting in your room and you're feeling miserable because, oh, I have no friends. Or girls don't like me. Or boys don't like me. Right? And then on the other spectrum is you're sitting in your room and you've got all these guys texting you and you're like, oh, I don't like him so much. Oh, he's cute, isn't he? Oh, he's cute. Oh, but he's a little too short. Oh, look at him. Oh, but I don't know. And then your entire consciousness now is locked up in this mating game. As if this is the only thing you're here to do. So it goes both ways. If you're winning in the game, the social game, or if you're losing in the social game, you're suffering. Both ways you're suffering. Because, oh, look, I got so many guys. I feel so good. And then 5 years later, right? Because your consciousness is locked into this world, into the mating world, the social game, the human social game. You see? But you've been drinking now and abusing your body 5 years later. Instead of 10 guys texting you at once, you've got a guy that's out of work and he's got a big belly and he's texting you every 7 days for a booty call, and then you're just waiting for him to text you because you got no more suitors here. But because you're still locked in, your consciousness is locked in into the social game, which includes the sexual mating aspect of it and the bonding aspect, social bonding for survivability. So then you're feeling miserable 5 years later or 10 years later. So it goes both ways. The suffering goes both ways, whether you're winning in the game or losing in the game. And life goes in cycles like this. So if you're winning right now, you're going to be losing in the social game at some point. Okay? Make no mistake about it, folks. I did pick up back in my days, right? And there were times where I felt high in the sky because I was scoring with all these chicks. And then there were times where I was just losing in the social game and I felt like a piece of shit. My identity was primarily in my human self. Therefore, my confidence, my status in life, my happiness was dictated based on how I was performing in the social game. So, therefore, the moral of this story, which is only the first part of this video, okay? The moral of this, if you are primarily identified with a human, you will continuously be playing the social game. Your entire consciousness will be locked into it, and you will suffer, my friend, whether you're winning or losing. Because you will constantly also be am I fitting in the society? So wherever you go, you're going to be like, am I fitting in with the society? Am I fitting in? Constantly playing in here. Okay? Constantly. Do I fit in? Am I fitting in this culture? Am I fitting in this society? Which you're not authentic. So you lose your authenticity in the process. You're locked in the social game, which is very relative. Come here to Thailand, totally different social game. So which one is which? They're all illusions. They're all very limiting to the authenticity of the soul anyway. The soul doesn't actually want to do with any of it. Okay, so we move a step further now. Okay? We go into the soul. Let's go into the soul because this is a multi-layered thing here. The soul also wants connection. But it looks for it much more selectively and it craves for it on a deeper level. Because the soul is in a different stage of its evolution than, say, a human. A human is still a third density being. So a human, with its all social games, it's also actually, believe it or not, working towards union. But it's on a much still lower level. The soul, which is a multidimensional being, comes into this human and it's like, especially if it's a fourth, fifth, and sixth density soul, comes and it's looking for, but even a third density soul is looking to go into fourth density. So the soul, whichever density it is at in its state of evolution, and depending on the state of evolution, is also looking for bonding. But it looks for it in a deeper way, in a more selective way. And so it may still play the social game, but much more selectively. An example. Say, well, I don't care about what humans do or this and that. I found my yogi community. I walk in there and I feel bliss and I feel lights all over my third eye. This is my community. All right, my community. I'm getting myself to the mat today. I'm doing the yoga. I got my water bottle here, right? I I got a big smile on my face. This is my community. Well, okay, but you're still playing the social game, now in the form of this community. The soul still plays the same game, mind you, but it plays it more selectively, and it also suffers because you're in this. Let's say you decide, okay, I don't care what others think, I don't care, but my yoga community now, I care about that. That's my community, right? And you have people there, and you bond with them, and you understand them, and they understand you, and it's great, it's wonderful. But you're still holding back that full expression because with every community comes certain ways of behavior, certain things. Like, I remember I did yoga. I used to go to this beautiful community, and I'd occasionally get a tap on the shoulder saying, you're, just keep it down, right? Because I'd be there, I'd get in the flow of it, and I'd maybe breathe a little deeper than usual, or, push myself and maybe do a little humming in the process, and then little tap there. So you understand what I'm saying? Even when you find your people, you find your tribe, you find your groove, as a soul, you're looking for these deeper connections. So now in this community, you have deeper connections than, say, in your community at work. But there is still the social game. So as long as we're human beings together, there's the social game, which in all its forms, at some level, is restricting the full expression of the soul, the full authentic expression. So then that's the soul level. So then you're still playing the social game, just more refined, which again, anything that gets you to think and wander is suffering. So then you may be like, should I behave myself better in this community? Or you like somebody in your community, and you have a crush on someone. And then you start to change the way you behave. As long as you're somehow looking for validation or dependence of your happiness and your identity on another human being, you're bound to suffer, my friend. You're bound to suffer. So you could afford to be in a community as long as you don't care about being in a community. Ain't that a paradox? Ain't that a paradox, folks? That is one hell of a paradox. You could only afford to be in a human society, in any community, have deep connections with people, if you don't give a shit about having these relationships, having these connections, and having this community. There, play with this paradox for a second. Play with this paradox for a second, folks. And I'm going to tell you a little bit deeper about this and where this all is going. So then, even the soul playing, they call it the spiritual ego, the spiritual identity, walk into any yoga studio and you will feel that people are not fully being authentic. Any community, but there are people there, I can tell it's there, and I have experienced it myself. I had built some deep connections with some people that I met in the yoga community that I was part of back in Hamilton. I was there for about a year, and I had some amazing connections there. So you do experience these deeper connections, right? But overall, there's the community guidelines. There's this is how we are, and so if your identity becomes like, this is my community. If I don't behave according to this community, I'm not gonna have another community, because I don't want to be around bars anymore, around these society people anymore. Like, I like this community. So then you attach to this community, then you change your authenticity, your expression, because you're part of this community. You see? So the soul's deep desire to, especially like if you're here as a soul and you're from like a starseed soul, and there aren't many people that you relate to. So then when you find your tribe, you grow like deep attachments to them. But also you're unfortunately restricting yourself, and you're also playing the social game. And now you go into your head a lot. Am I acting this way? Am I impressing enough? Am I good enough for this community? Am I a good representation? Am I going there with, because you go to yoga, you're supposed to have a big smile and you're supposed to bring a really like positive attitude. Am I bringing this attitude? Like, you know what I mean? You know, instead of just being authentic, like maybe walking in one day, be like, I feel like shit here. I know everybody's supposed to have a big blissful smile here, but I feel like shit. Most people won't do that, going to a yoga studio. And excuse me for taking shots here at the yoga community. I'm actually fond of the yoga community, okay? Big fan. But I'm just using it as an example here, so just bear with my sarcasm. So, then where is this all going, man? Am I doomed here? Should I just go to a cave and just hang out in a cave? What should I do? I mean, wherever I go, there's a human being, right? There's some great human beings out there. Shouldn't I be part of their community? Shouldn't I be one with them? Shouldn't I hang out with them? No. First of all, you have to realize who you are. Really, that's not even a soul, that's God, basically. Now we're getting into the Godhead, okay? Now things are getting juicy. Now we're going into the Godhead, my friends. Now we're going into the Godhead. Now you have to be God first. If you're God, you could afford to be anything. You could afford to be in any community. You could because you're going to be God. You're God. Okay, so here is to give you a little bit of who you are, who God is, who you are, beyond the soul, beyond any sense of individuality. You are pure bliss, Satchit Ananda, absolute knowledge, absolute bliss, absolute existence. You are absolute peace. You are absolute fulfillment. You are absolute energy, infinite energy, infinity. You are infinity. Now, how absurd would it be that infinity needs anything else? Oh, sure, the soul wants to bond with its fellow souls, right? Let's find all the star seeds here and bond with them. Find the others. That's the soul. That's not God, though. Because God is pure energy. God is pure light. God is pure consciousness, and that is who you are. And if you are that, you can afford to go and be part of the yoga community or this community and have these deep bonds because you don't give a shit. You're not making, because you make a social bond with someone and you get deeper into the bond in whichever dynamic as a partner you share a life with, or a friend that you have conversations with for 10 hours. But because you're God, you don't give a shit if your friend approves of you or doesn't approve of you. You don't give a shit if your partner approves of who you are or doesn't, because you're God. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You don't need this community altogether. Oh, sure, society is a mess, and maybe there is this one community in this town that's actually working positively, but I don't need that neither. I'm God. I'm God, folks. I'm God. I don't even need this community. You guys are the only community here that is positively oriented, positively thinking. There's nobody else in society. Great, fantastic, wonderful. But I don't really need you any more than you don't need me, because you're all God and I'm God. I'm pure energy. Whether you exist or not, it's frankly indifferent to me. Oh, you exist? God bless. I'll come in here and I'll bless you and I get blessed by you. And man, I meet some wonderful souls here, highly evolved souls, on their way back to the source, fellow souls like myself. But whether you guys exist or not, I'm God. I'm pure energy. I'm pure consciousness. So you exist, great. I'm gonna actually be part of this community. Great. This I resonate with this, right? The light in me resonates with the positivity in there. Great. Every day I'm on the mat. Every day, big, blissful, authentic smile, right? Every day. Oh, hi, Stephanie. How are you? How was your day, right? Oh, I'm there every day. Love you guys. Oh man, look at all these wonderful people that I met here. Look at all these wonderful friends. But were they to disappear overnight, were there to be some kind of a zombie invasion, some apocalypse or something, were they to disappear, you'll be like, oh man, I wonder what happened. I gotta tell you, I'm gonna miss these people. Oh, but I'm right. I'm pure God. I'm pure energy, right? So you're pure energy. You're pure bliss, right? So then you'll just understand with wisdom that I guess they were supposed to be eaten by zombies, and that's that. And you wish them luck on their next journey, but you don't feel this attachment. You don't feel like there's a need. Oh man, now I'm a lonely soul in this reptilian controlled world again. Ooh, I have no more community here. Oh man, all right, I'm gonna go back into my lonely cave here. Oh God, no! Look at this world, it's a big man. You're God. Doesn't matter. You're pure energy, pure peace, fulfillment, not needing of anything, nothing, no need whatsoever, no seeking whatsoever. Fulfilled only by your own presence, by your full presence, full awareness in the moment. I am here, I am peace, I am bliss. I am bliss. Now I do a little thing called sun worshipping, my friends. I spend all my day in the sun, and I pick locations based on the season where it's mostly sunny. And I hang around long enough in the sun so that the outer light reminds me of the inner light. And once I find that place, it's fulfillment. I don't need anything. Whether a community exists of like-minded people or not, I'd like it. It's nice if it's there, but it's not necessary. Because I am pure bliss, in peace, in fulfillment. You see, I'm pure fulfillment. Now so then you see how the social game is such an obstruction, an obstacle to self-realization. And you could understand now why a lot of yogis decide to drop out of the social game. Not that you need to drop out of the social game, but you see, I'm trying to make you understand. Have you ever wondered why suddenly Ramana Maharshi decides to go to this hill, Arunachala Hill, and just hang out there? Why at 17 years old? What's going on in there? What's happening in there? This is a highly evolved soul. I don't know if he was fully 7th density or anything, but this is a highly evolved soul. What got into his head? Why suddenly goes to this hill? It's a sacred hill, but why suddenly? He was living with his uncle. He's got so many people, society. He was living in a good life. Suddenly, 17 years old, screw you guys. I'm going to Arunachala Hill. Right? Pulls an Eric Cartman like that. Just dips. Jesus, one day he's like, all right, guys, bye-bye. I'm going to the desert. See you later. Doesn't even say see you later. Just takes himself out. What's going on with all these yogis? Not that you have to, by the way. There are many paths to this. But it seems like a common tendency. Okay, well, what's going on here? Well, they're dropping out of the social game because they realize as long as I'm identified with just being a human being, I'm going to be a prisoner to the social game in all its aspects. All of it. Oh, but I'm part of a positive community, man. We encourage ourselves here. We're all about positivity. Yeah, but most of you are still primarily identified with your human self. So most of you are actually in a dependent relationship, dependent on one another for positivity, for encouragement, for this and that. You're still dependent. You're in a dependent relationship. You're not, because you're primarily identified with being a human being. But who is really in there? Okay, you understand why a lot of yogis, like Jesus, Ramana Maharshi, Muhammad would go to the desert, spend days in his cave, right? Moses, same thing, Mount Sinai, right? So it's like all of them, you see this tendency. Buddha goes out, like, screw you guys, I'm going to the jungles, right? Same thing. Because they understand at one level, okay, they're highly evolved souls, right? So they understand, like, okay, I'm experiencing these human things, I'm part of this social game, but man, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like it's who I am at a deeper level. Screw you guys! I'm going to the jungle, or I'm going to the desert, or whatever, okay? They retreat. They say, well, I gotta transcend this social game. Who am I? Who am I? Then Ramana Maharshi comes up with his who am I inquiry to the true self. So you go there and you ask yourself, and finally you're like, wow, woo, I am God. And you feel this incredible surge of energy from head to toe. However you got there, and whatever happened, and whatever deities blessed you, whichever psychedelics you might have dropped. They say Moses had just, the burning bush was really Moses getting high on DMT. Okay, but nevertheless, all right, you say, I am God. I am God. Energy, pure energy, infinity, pure fulfillment, pure energy, pure consciousness. No need, no seeking, pure bliss. Sat Chit Ananda, absolute knowledge, absolute bliss, absolute existence. And you realize that long enough. Because once the process begins, maybe for you it happened, for me the first time it happened was 5 grams of mushrooms, really beautiful sunny day. I was in a fasted state, and boom, I take this stuff. I'm like, I am God. Energy. I am God. Pure energy, pure consciousness. I wasn't thinking about, man, am I supposed to be acting this way? Or I wonder if she likes me, or I could really use a big meal right now. None of that. No need. I mean, what? You're blessed. Your energy. Right? So then, of course, the realizations come, and for some, they come and they stay. Like for somebody like Ramana Maharshi or the Buddha, that's it. They were already like at the level of evolution where that state of pure bliss was ready to stabilize fully. Okay? So, but then, here's the interesting thing. Once you experience this, you can't really go back playing the social game the same way before. Because you're like, man, that's not who I am. That's who I am. That's who I am. That's who I am. I am. Pure energy. Pure energy. Why? Okay, let me ask you a question. Why would the sun right now, I've never had the sun approach me and say, hey, Saeed, can I get some of your energy? Give me, you're vibrating high today, Saeed. Give me some of your energy. No! The sun is just giving energy because it's like, it's got so much of it. Abundance. Here. You're evil. Here, have some of it. Here, you're good. Have some of it too. Here, oh, you're poor. You're living in poverty. It's okay. Here's some sun for you. Whether you receive it or not, none of my business. But I got so much energy. Here, so much light. That's who you are. That's who you are at a deeper level. Now let me pause and continue simply because the video is gonna cut. I told you guys it's gonna be a long video. And it turns out I didn't even need my notebooks. Turns out I'm better when I'm a dumbass than when I'm smart. So, where were we here? Yes. Pure energy, pure consciousness. That moment, that realization. I'm not gonna go back playing the social game the way I was, because I'm not a human being. I'm just playing a human being. I am this. I am eternal. I'm energy, like the sun. I'm the inner sun. So actually, I am pure infinite energy. I don't need energy from people, since we're talking about the social game here, right? You can think of this as social breatharianism. It's the same thing, really. The more realized you are, the less you need. So then, when you become that being, then you can afford to go back to society, because you don't give a shit about society. The only way you could afford to play the social game is if you don't give a shit. If you don't give a rat's ass about the social game. In all of its aspects, folks. In all of its aspects. If you can't give a flying spaghetti fuck, specifically, okay? Because those are the fucks that are hardest to give. If you can't even give a flying spaghetti fuck, then you can afford to go and fully play in the social game. Fully take on the social role and play the social role and be part of your wonderful yoga community and here and every day and be there making interest and even having a partner and having sex every day and whatever. All the things that come with the social game. But if you don't know who you are and you're not living as who you are, forget it, baby. Forget it. The social game is like probably the biggest, more than food even, the biggest obstruction, the biggest obstacle to your well-being, to your happiness, to your joy, to your self-realization, self-sustenance. It's the biggest one because you're primarily identified as a human being. You have not the slightest clue. Oh, but man, our community, we're so positive, man. We support one another, right? Now, what would you do without their support? Oh, I'd feel terrible. I need to come in here every day. Right, that's not empowerment then. Then your community is empowering you on a superficial level because, frankly, nobody in your community seems to me like they are in realization of their true nature. They also seem to me that they seem to me lost in the social roles and the social identities and their primary identification with themselves as a human being. So then a community like that may indeed support one another as long as we're there for each other. Because if we're not there for each other, baby, you need a community, don't you? You know, I mean, I need my community. Without my community, I'm a mess. Right. That's being lost in your social role, being primarily identified as a human being. You can't afford to play the social game. It's hurting you more than it's benefiting you at this point. You see? Okay, so Saeed, if I understand you correctly here, I'm just gonna go out and I'm gonna go find me a cave or find me somewhere like this, right where I am right now. It's pretty nice and secluded. I'm gonna find me some woods and nobody there, and I'm just gonna hang out there, and I'm just gonna renounce the human society. That's it. You know, I got nothing to do with it. I'm not a human. Right. You do that for some time though. But once you stabilize in one way or another, you can't help but go back into the society to serve. Bingo. To serve. Okay? To serve. That's it. To serve. Then, at that point, your primarily identification is that of God. And you begin to embody that truthfully, deeply, authentically. You begin to live your life like that. So at every moment, you're this peaceful presence. You're present. That's what it is. It's presence, awareness. Now, you can go and afford to play any social game you want. You can go and have a wife, have children, have friends, have community. Do your human dance until it's gone, until it's done, right? Play this character. But the whole time you're playing the character, you've got a smile on your face. Why? Because you're like, man, I'm just playing this character. I'm not a human being, right? Like I look at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, I lose my shit. I'm laughing. I'm like, I'm here. Human being. I mean, really, I look at myself in the mirror, and it's like, with no drugs, mind you. I've done enough of them. Enough of them to get me to this level, at least, okay? And I'm like, I laugh. I look at myself and I laugh. I guess I'm a human being now. I'm not a human being. All right. Flesh is flesh here. It's physical. The hands, I'm moving my hands, right? Very interesting. And I laugh. So you go on dancing, doing your social dance, whatever it is, but you're not primarily identified with being a human. So here I am. I'm part of this community. We support one another. Were this community to suddenly be invaded by zombies and everyone got eaten by zombies except you, you would be a little distressed, first of all. What the hell happened here? Curious, right? Where did these zombies come from? You know, some compassion for your friends that just got eaten, but no real sense of I'm lost without my community now, because you're bliss, you're pure energy. You're the sun. Were I to die right now, the sun wouldn't really bat an eye. It wouldn't really lose sleep, okay? It wouldn't really lose sleep over it. Were I to die right now. Because the sun isn't dependent on me. Sun likes me. When I salute the sun salutes me back, says, here's somebody that gets it. Here's somebody that's actually going to receive my energy. Here, more of it. Okay? Because I'm able to receive, and the sun just acknowledges. But were I to die right now, sun would not lose sleep over it. The sun's got so much energy of it. So were your community to disappear, were your supportive people to disappear, were your partner to disappear, your friends, you're not in a needy relationship like the vast majority of humans are. Because vast majority of humans are even starseed souls who come into the human bodies and they forget where they come from. The vast majority of humans are so identified with the social game, with the social role, with being a human. Even the ones that come from like starseed souls, wanderers, even Ross says 90% of wanderers don't even remember that they're wanderers, because it's the amnesia it's so deep, okay? And so because of that, 99% of humans, more even 99.9, are in codependent relationship, dependency. It's dependent relationships with one another, any dynamic, friendship, partnership, life partnership, sexual, whatever, any dynamic, okay? But if you're actually like the sun, and you are the sun, then you participate in the society, usually through service, because you're just gonna now be like, why am I even in society anymore? All right, I'm here to serve, because the society is pretty messed up, and they're operating at a lower consciousness, and I'm here to help it. Okay, so even when you come back to society, you're coming back in a servant role. So you just do your dance, and it's like, and then you just like you're do the whole way you're doing it with a smirk on your face. It's like, yeah, I know who I am. I am who I am. So you are who you are, dancing your dance in society. You see? So you're this eternal peace and energy. Yeah, you're just your light, your energy, and yeah, you go on serving others. You may create your own community, right? I am certainly creating my own community in this YouTube channel, right? But the more I get in, the more I embody my true essence, the less I feel the need for any human contact, actually, even if it's people that I resonate with. Yeah, the more and more I am at peace with myself, with my true essence, the less human contact of any nature I feel inclined to. And so it became a priority for me to live day to day, moment to moment, as this awareness. Because if I live as this awareness, then I can play the social game. I'm not gonna get lost in it, because I don't give a shit about it. You literally don't give a shit if people care of you, if your close friends approve of you or don't approve of you, if your partner approves of what you do, because you don't care. You're energy. You're the sun. Sun don't give a shit if I get eaten right now. Sun doesn't give a shit. Sun is just have so much energy. It's giving. You are the same thing, except for you're actually even, the sun has an expiry date. As abundant and as it is, it's a reminder for your inner sun, which is infinite, doesn't have an expiry date, was never born, never dies, is pure energy. Why would you go around needing energy? Because most people are playing in the social game looking for each other's energy, right? Oh, I met this guy. Oh, he's so amazing. I love his energy. Oh, he's not like the other assholes too, right? Right. Well, guess what? Right, because he's got a lot of energy, and I want some of that energy. Right? So you're attracted to that energy from one place to cling on, because you don't know who you are, which is pure energy. So you're looking for another energy. The other scenario could be, I met this guy, and he's amazing. Right? Oh, his energy is so unbelievable. But your energy is just as vibrant as his. So the recognition that you recognize in him is the recognition that you recognize in yourself as the soul in a woman body. You recognize it in the man. You recognize that inner light. So, and you may end up being in a partnership with this man, this woman. I'm a man, so I look for a woman, but I like to use different examples because we got mixed audience here, right? So I'm trying to keep everybody here, right? So yeah, and you may become partners with this lovely man, with this lovely woman, but it's a partnership. It's a sharing of love. It isn't. I love your energy. Oh man, the more captivated you are by somebody, the less you know who you are. Because if you know who you are, you wouldn't be captivated. When you see somebody with that high energy, you would actually be like in such admiration and appreciation. Like, oh, here's somebody else that gets it too, and so you may actually end up being partners with this person, and that would be the ideal human partnership: a man and a woman who are both God-realized, self-realized, and they're both joy, just two joyful beings sharing the joy together. Usually, this is like, again, the most ideal partnership, right? Nobody's looking to leech off the energy of somebody else. Read the Celestine prophecy; it makes this really clear. This dynamic. This man and this woman fall in love with one another, and then the wiser people that were there, they didn't let them get together because they realized that they're too identified right now with one another, with their social game. So they actually took them apart with wisdom, and they both did their own thing until they were both realized in their true essence, and then the wise people allowed them to come together again, and it was like the most wonderful partnership because you have two God beings two beings of pure joy, pure energy. They're not needing one another. There's no I need you, you need me. There's just, that's pure love, by the way. That's pure love. It's no neediness, no attachment. No attachment whatsoever. No attachment whatsoever. And when your loved one, in that sense, passes on, you will feel like, man, I really miss that. But then you're still you. You're still God. If you ever read the Way of the Peaceful Warrior, I think that was what the book was called. Really beautiful book. And Socrates, who was the troll teaching Dan in the book, teaching him about the way, the Tao. He was like a Lao Tzu type figure. I remember in one of the passages, Socrates, who's the wise man, the Lao Tzu figure, his friend dies, and he says something along the lines of, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's like, okay, he joined, he's now part of the whole thing. He didn't cry, he's like, okay, he actually smiled. He actually felt like a happiness for his friend that just passed on. So actually, when both humans become so God realized that even it's kind of like Sadhguru and his wife. His wife actually just chose to leave her body on her own. Okay, and it's called Mahasamadhi. They actually held a ceremony for her. Sadhguru wasn't like weeping or anything, because there's no need. We're all God here, and we're all infinity. We're all energy. See, our perception of death, and we're not gonna once the consciousness ascends, there's not gonna be funerals anymore, friends. There's gonna be celebrations when people pass on, because we're all energy. We're all consciousness. We're all infinity. It's infinity. There's no neediness. There's no neediness. See that need? The more we need something, the less we know who we are. So the social game. Then, okay, Saeed. So then I'm just gonna go and retreat back to the woods or the cave or the mountain or the jungle. Yeah, that's actually probably a good idea, because the social programming and brainwashing and identification with being a human is so deeply ingrained. Oh my God, it's like, that you may indeed need to do that. And then once you do that, and once you figure that out, and you become that, then you can go back to this and play your role, because you got a role to play in the society. I got a role. My role is to make these videos. Okay? That's my role. That's my mission. And I'm doing a spectacular job at it, let me say. Spectacular. Right? I know my role. I know who I am, though. Day by day, I realize it more and more. Day by day, I realize it more and more. Okay. The more I realize it, the more I feel like... It's funny. The more I realize it, the more I am a participant in the social game. The more I am who I am, the more I'm like, all right, I'm here a little bit, little experience, right? I come from Sirius star system, but even beyond that, I am source. So even then, sometimes I'm like, man, like I miss my star fam or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then in states where I am not even a soul anymore, I am God. I'm God. I'm pure energy. I am bliss. I am fulfillment. It's for eternity, right? So the more I'm realizing that, the more actually, believe it or not, I'm playing my role impeccably. That's not even a word. The more I'm playing my role to its full capacity, to its full potential, the more I'm fulfilling my role. The more I am God, the more I am my true nature, the more I am pure energy, the more I am fulfilling my social role in this society. So in a way, I am my particular character, my particular soul, in this time-space illusion. I am actually changing the society from the outside in. So I'm not part of the matrix. I am, just doing my own thing. And so I get to observe, and I get to make observations, and I get to put it out there. So I am still participating in society, but the way I am participating in it is different, let's say. It's just different than somebody who's in the heart of New York City or something like that. Okay? It happens to be different. If I continue to realize my true self, then I can fully afford to play the social game. I can afford to have a partner. I can afford to have a community. I'm thinking about starting a community house in the near future for basically our community here, the people in this community. I'm thinking about it. It will happen, actually. But I want to be able to do it when I don't really give a shit if the community is there or not. And that's when I say I don't give a shit. Again, it's not apathy. It's it's just being who you are. So you don't. I mean, who you are doesn't give a shit. Who you are doesn't give a shit. It loves all its manifestations, but it doesn't give a shit if these manifestations. It doesn't cling on to any, because it is all of its manifestation. It is all the energy available. Therefore, it's not attaching. It's not clinging. It loves. It's loving, but it's also allowing itself to experience itself. Like somebody dies or something dies, and you say, well, I'm allowing myself now to experience myself in something else. You see? So it's an allowance also. Cosmic love, I mean, our understanding of love as humans, again, this is why to play the social game without first realizing your true essence is suicide. Suicide to your true essence. Suicide to your enlightenment, your self-realization. It is actually suicidal to play the social game without first having relinquished your primary identification as a human. I'll tell you what, if you want to go about this in a healthy way, you primarily identify with yourself as God, as all there is, pure energy, pure consciousness. Secondarily, as an individual soul. And thirdly, as a human being. Now you have a healthy relationship, because you're not denying you're human. You're still in this body. You're going to treat it a certain way. It's going to treat you a certain way. You're still in society. You're still dependent on other human beings for survival. I, for example, teach kids online, and I get paid that way, and I get donations from Patreon. I am still dependent on social human beings, so society, to provide me with basic needs for survival. Okay? And so therefore, you're still a human being. But if that's your third identity that you're identified with, and primarily with God and pure energy, secondarily as a soul, so then I am a soul from the star system Sirius, and I'm here for this mission and this and that. So you put things into perspective also. You put your cosmic journey as an individual soul in the time-space illusion into perspective. And then human being is your third identity. You see? So it's because the human world is a microcosm of the soul world. And the soul world is the microcosm of finally, the macrocosm of it all, the source, which is who you are. And that's, you primarily want to be identified with that. And to be able to really get deep into that, you indeed, my friends, will have to stop playing the social game for a while. All kinds of roles. I don't see how else. I really don't see how else. Because you come in here, wow, here, give him some milk, wow, all right, here where your parents were providing you with food, were providing you with shelter, wow, you're part of a society right away. So I get it. Yeah, Jesus goes to the desert, I get it. Buddha goes to the jungle, yeah, of course. I need to realize who I am first before I can come back to you people, and then fulfill my usually service. I come back and serve you. At the end of the day, you're serving. So before I come back to serve you in my social role, in my human identity, I gotta be identified with who I am first, my true self, my true essence. Then I can afford to come back to society and serve. It's service at the end of the day. It's a service. You know, you realize it once you are who you are, because you're loving, compassionate awareness. You want all the parts of you to realize themselves as the bliss that you have just realized for yourself. So then you go on about and you begin to serve yourself. You begin to serve. However, whatever your service, I mean, my service is limited to a very specific group of people. The wanderers and the harvests. I'm here to serve, I can even give you the estimate. I'm here to serve between 5 and 10 million people. I know exactly my audience, my you know, I'm here to serve 5 to 10 million human beings. That's the which is a lot of people, right? I'm here to serve, and they're mostly, you know, wanderers, star seeds, and harvests. Human souls looking to go into the fourth, and they're ready. I know I'm not here to serve the average truck driver that's driving his truck every day, 5 days a week, 12 hours a day. I'm kind to him if I come across him, but that's not who I'm here to serve. So maybe in that moment, my service to him is by being kind to him. You dig? So yeah. So then, but then you don't give a shit about the social game anymore. How could you? How could the sun give a shit if Saeed is alive or Saeed is dead? Oh, if Saeed is dead, I'm not gonna be able to be the same bright, abundant, shining, warm, beautiful sun. No, it's the same thing. If I am who I am, then I come back to the social game. As far as I'm concerned, this is all an illusion anyway. In the words of Bill Hicks, a young man on acid realized that all matter is merely energy condensed to a slow vibration, that we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. There is no such thing as death, life is only a dream, and we're the imaginations of ourselves. Now you come back, you play as an imaginary dream character, engage with these other dream characters, and none of it matters. And yet it matters. It matters that I play my role, and yet it doesn't matter. Because we're all infinity, we're all bliss. I am in all, I'm pure awareness. They're all pure awareness. They're all come to realize it at some point. I am coming to realize it now in my journey. And because the fact that you even have these thoughts means you're beginning to fully realize it. Not yet fully, not yet stabilized, but you understand, right? There's different levels of self-realization and enlightenment. And that's one level. Is when you realize that, right? So you come back, you serve, but you don't care if that person's like, man, like you stink, or you suck. Why don't you go put on a shirt, dude? Or put on some shoes, dude. Put on some shoes. You gotta be respectful, dude. You don't care about any of that because who cares, right? I'm God, right? Like I'm energy. It doesn't bother you. You probably just like kind of laugh at it, get amused by society. I mean, I'll tell you, the more I operate from this essence, the more I'm just amused by human society. It's amusement at this point, just amusement. Like I'm in an amusement park, and this is all amusing to me, right? And now you could be in society. Now you could afford it. Okay, now you could afford it because you don't care. You could afford to be a part of a community because you're not dependent on the community. You're not dependent on its existence. You can afford to be in friendships. You can afford to have a partner. You can afford to have sex every day. Otherwise, you can't afford to have sex, man. Because it sucks you deeper into your identification as a human being. And with that comes attachments and, did I perform well today? Did I make love to you adequately today? Did I not? It's like, but if you're God having sex every day, human sex, you don't even give a shit if you satisfy your partner or not. You don't give a shit if your partner approves of you or not. You're just doing your thing. You're pure energy. Here we are. I'm having sex now. Were my partner suddenly to say, I don't like you anymore, no more sex for you, you'd be like, okay, no more sex. And you would just kind of be indifferent about it because your energy, you're just having sex because that's the way it's an experience right now. It happens to be that way. The cards are rolled that way. The dice roll says, all right, you're going to be having sex with this person now in this dream world. And then once that stops for whatever reason, you actually are, the more of a God being you are, the more indifferent you are about the whole thing. Truthfully, you're just indifferent. It's an indifference. It's not apathy. It's indifference. It's also you wish the other person, you wish the other people well-being. It's your awareness, your compassion, right? Your compassion. So it's an indifference from a sense of, all right, it's not like that was giving me energy. Again, I'm the sun. Again, the sun. Again, Saeed dies. Sun doesn't give a shit. You die. The sun doesn't give a shit. Sun is just being the sun. Okay, the sun has all the energy. It's indifferent. But while I'm here, while I'm alive, and if I salute the sun says, hey, I'm just shy, I'm just doing my thing here, and you happen to receive it. Great. All right, I'm not affected by your reception. I'm not affected by, Saeed appreciated me today. I'm having an extraordinary day as the sun today. Oh my God, you wouldn't believe it. Saeed, this human being called Saeed, he saluted me today. Oh, I'm so happy today. I have more energy today. No, the sun is the sun. It's energy. It's just energy and light and abundance. It's except for you're the inner sun. You're actually even beyond the sun. The sun only reminds you of the inner sun. The sun has an expiry date. You don't have an expiry date. So, wow, I knew this video was going to be long because it hits on a deep level, man. I don't usually watch my own videos. Rarely. This is the one I'm going to repeat over and over because I feel like I channeled some stuff here that is truly powerful and truly like gets behind all the bullshit. So this is one of those videos I'm actually going to rewind and just listen to it because when I go back to my idiot self, my idiot Saeed, right? Like, oh, I'm a human being. Oh my God, I want a partner. It's like, I can watch this and I can just continue with this self-study. And it's funny because I wanted to draw some diagrams and some next level shit for this video, but I have so much to say about this particular topic of social games, playing the social game and the true essence of self, that I will make that video with those pyramids. I had some pyramids and next level shit that I wanted to show you guys, but we'll make that for a different video. So let's put a moral of the story here. Find out who you are and primarily identify as that. However you want to do that, I can give you ways, psychedelics, but don't be dependent on them. They will show you the way in a very radical manner. Psychedelics. My current way of doing it, it's more organic, more fulfilling, and more sustainable, is the sun. I wake up in the morning and I lay around in the sun for like an hour and a half. I set a timer. And by the end of it, I'm so fulfilled that I'm like, oh, okay, that's who I am, right? The sun just reminded me of that. And then I just go on the rest of my day just hanging out with the sun. As long as I'm hanging out with the sun, it just reminds me of who I am. Okay? That's my way now of doing it. So there's a lot of ways. Meditation, obviously meditation. I meditate on the sun. I do a standing tree meditation or with open hands or with gratitude. And I thank the sun and I connect with the sun. Okay? And it just reminds me of who I am. Okay, so find out who you are, whichever way you want to go, okay? If you want to isolate yourself from society, I salute you. That's probably a good idea, for some time at least, because the social game, again, is just so strong. It's shackled so much. Find out who you are and then make that your primary identity. I am peace, I am eternal peace, pure energy, and therefore I don't need anything or anyone. I don't need social approval. I don't even need social community. I don't even need anyone. I don't even need human contact. Right? You don't. That's the truth. You don't need it. Some yogis go into the cave and they don't even come back because they're just they're just like, all right, they don't even want to come back and serve. Maybe they came here to serve, but the bliss is too overwhelming of the self, the true self. They don't even come back. They just hang out in a cave, and then somebody comes and 100 years later finds like their remains of their dead body, because they're just so ingrained with the bliss. It's like it works like that, folks, right? That's your true essence. So find out who that is and then make that your primary identity. Then make your secondary identity not even your human self, your soul, because the soul is on this cosmic journey and it's here, and you may be a third density, fourth density, fifth density soul. Identify with that. That'll give you, like, when I identify with the soul, I say, well, okay, I'm from the star system Sirius, and I'm here on a mission, and this is what I'm here to do, and I'm going to connect with my fellow star seed souls, blah, 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 okay? All the good stuff that comes with being a soul. Make that your secondary identity. So if you fall back from the primary identity, at least you fall back into the soul space, right? And then make your human identity your third identity. Okay, so you're all of them at the same time, but except one is eternal. The soul is eternal also, but it is also diluted. Let me pause and go back again. The soul is also eternal, okay, but it is still diluted because it still thinks it's a separate individual soul. The human one is finite, so it's not who you are at all. So make that your third identity. And if you can live from the first and then allow them to illuminate the other two, you become a breatharian essentially. You don't even need to eat. Because then your light, you're just going to give light to your body. You're going to emanate your body. That's what breatharianism is from another perspective. Okay? Is your soul living from that primary pure light. Because you are illuminating all the other worlds. And so human is part of your own creation. You're experiencing your own creation, but it's finite, so it's not you. So then make that your third identity. So it's not that you're not rejecting it. You still recognize, if I eat, I shit. If I drink, I piss. Right? And if I ejaculate in a woman's vagina, then a baby is reproduced, is born. Right? Given that the cycles are aligning and everything. So it's still a recognition that all these are the laws of this particular creation, and you may participate in them, but you can only afford to participate in them from that place, from that highest place. Otherwise, oh God, you're in for a lot of suffering. You're in for a lot of mental, because you're going to be so in your mind all the time, playing these social roles, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. Does she like me? Do I like her? Am I good enough? Did I do a good job today? Did I do a good job? Did I do a good job? Am I liked by the girls? Do the boys like me? Oh, the mental suffering when you're playing in the social game and you're primarily identified with a human. Oh man, the neediness that you constantly feel for people's approval and their opinions. Your self-confidence is dependent on their opinions and how you fit in. How you fit in. So that's your third. That's you honor your human incarnation. You honor your birth. You play your role. You play your role from that place, not from without. If you play it from this place only, yeah, like I said, much suffering for you, my friend. Much suffering, much mental suffering. Man, we create the suffering with our mind. Many attachments. You're gonna be sad when your friends leave you, or when you don't have friends. It's like you're gonna suffer. That who you are does not suffer. Who you are is pure fulfillment, pure energy. And like I said, many ways of recognizing that. For me, it started off with psychedelics, copious amounts. And now it's down to the sun. And I know these things are just reminders. So the sun reminds me of the inner sun. Okay? So yeah, this was a fantastic video. Really glad this video got channeled from. There was definitely some high wisdom, higher entities, and higher self was involved. Some of my people, the folks back home, were involved in channeling this message, and I even feel I'm like a little bit coming down now. So this was wonderful. I'm gonna be watching this again and again because yeah. I would recommend you watch this again and again also. Okay, this is very, it's important that you are aware. You have full awareness. Be fully conscious. Otherwise, the social game is like maybe the biggest obstacle to your well-being, to your joy, your happiness, your inner peace, and ultimately fulfilling your mission. Ironically, paradoxically, fulfilling your role in the society. Thank you to all the Patreons for your support. And if you would like to join the family, join the community, you could do so with $2 a month. I practically do this full time now. I teach on the weekends. But if you particularly enjoyed this video, these really deep discussions, hop in on Patreon and support. If I could do this full time, I could definitely see more of these deeper videos coming in, just because now my full attention is concentrated on this work. But I don't complain. God bless. I'm happy where I am now. I get 5 days where I could put my full consciousness here. If you're particularly though, if you appreciate and you feel like, okay, this is a community I believe in, it's helping me, I got a couple of bucks a month to spare, I'm gonna give it to this community. Then we have a link in the Patreon for Patreon in the description. If you want to do a one-time donation, we have PayPal links as well. We are a community. I speak for the community now, right? I am not Saeed anymore. I am a community. This is a community. So when you support, you're not supporting Saeed, you're supporting the community, and which Saeed happens to be a representative of. What else? Yeah, Saeed Mobile and Instagram. Until next time, may the force be with you.